Hi, I'm actually back with my vintage doll's house, the one that I got for £10 from a charity shop. Yay! Now I've stripped off a lot of the things I'm wanting to work with now. So I was going to show a little video showing you how I made the roof tiles that are on here. We're going to start a little bit of painting as well. So I'll do sort of little sections of the video and we'll pop some tiles on this side because this side I haven't done, this side I have. They are literally just pieces of cardboard, but when they're painted up, I've done this before on a doll's house, it looks amazing. So you don't need to buy any fancy tiles, you can just use cardboard. I did buy this cardboard, but I think top of my head, because I bought it a while back, I think it was about £2 something for 10 sheets of this cardboard off eBay. It's the cardboard that people use to create books. So it's like a backing card, so it's quite sort of dense, but it works really well for something like this. So we're going to sort of have bits and bobs. So the video I'm going to try and do from top down. I'm going to have to put the camera on a stand rather than where it is now. And just so I can show you, see what I've done, and like I say, we'll have a little go as well and see what you think. Please pop me a comment, please pop me a like, a share, etc, etc, and it'd be great if you would subscribe, and I will see you in a second to show you the bits and bobs I've already done. Hi, this is the first stage of the roofing. Now I do have a little pussycat here helping me, so there's a chance she might get in the way. I think she enjoys getting on the videos, to be honest, nowadays. Don't you? Yes, but it's not wool this time. She tried stealing my wool earlier while I was trying to do it. Now, this is the card I was talking about. Sometimes you'll get these on the back of a drawing book, something like that. So I've always kept them if we've had an art book and we've had them. It's slightly thinner, I think, than some of the art book ones. But this only cost me a few pounds on eBay and I got 10 pieces for it. Then basically, get a ruler, get some scissors or a craft knife, and then I cut them into long strips. Now obviously your tile size depends on what you want. Everybody wants a different tile size, don't they? I didn't mind if these were slightly out, you know, say, well, some were fractionally wider or longer, obviously you don't want, but wider. So I basically, taking these, I then pop some little lines, decided what size I wanted, just drew a line down all the way, and then scissors are so easy to cut it. Ta-da! That was it. I've still got quite a lot to make yet, so that is the whole process. So we have a load of these. Now we're going to stick some of these on, and I'm going to show you how I actually put them on. I'm only putting them on with PVA glue, and then I'm going to be painting them. So we'll mix together some paint, and I'll show you on the other side, because the other side I've fully tiled up how I've actually painted it. And I don't know what Pussycat's doing here. You're going to come and say hello? No, you're not. Where are you going? Come on. So we're going to go on to the move into the next stage. If you have any ideas or you've done anything similar, please give me a shout down below, or if you've got any suggestions, because I've still got a lot of work to do. I'm doing the tiling first and any external painting before I start on anything else. So I'll see you in a second with the actual sticking on of the tiles. So here we are with a little bit of tile application. I'm only going to do a small amount because you can see after I took the paper off, because it was like a paper tile, wasn't it? You can see there are stains and marks, but to be honest, it's not damaged at all. It must have got wet at some point, but that's as far as it's gone. It's dried out and the roof is still nice and solid. Now all I'm going to use is a basic PVA glue here. Now I'm going to take the lid off because I'm going to use a paintbrush to put it on rather than using it, sort of squeezing it on, because I like to put it on the tile rather than the actual, oh, I nearly knocked the camera. The camera's in a really, excuse me for that, it is bouncing a bit now. It's in a very awkward position. I've had to put it on another stand, on a stand, if that makes sense. So it's a little bit volatile, so I've got to try and keep away from it while I'm doing it. Now this is just a cheap paintbrush that I'll use for glue, so it doesn't matter, and the PVA washes off quite nicely anyway with it. So all I'm going to do is just dipping it into the pot, popping a little bit on, and deciding which end I'm going to start, because remember, for a tile it does need to be staggered. I'm going to start at this end. Now you can see it's a little bit dog-eared here, but by the time we've painted it up and everything you won't see it. So I'm just putting it out like that. That is it, making sure it's edge to edge, of course. I'm sure with a lot of you I'm teaching you how to do something you already know. I'm not really teaching you anyway, I'm just showing you what I've actually got done. So I'm going to pop another tile next to it. So tiny weeny gap I do need to leave. I don't want much of a gap, but just a little tiny weeny gap. Let's grab a couple more. As I say, I'm not overly worried if they're not exactly the same size, because I am actually going for more of a cottagey feel. With this beauty of PVA, you can move it about if it's in the wrong place, which is always good. But yeah, I want sort of a more of a cottagey feel, so I don't want everything exact and perfect as if someone's put a brand new slate roof on, for example. I do want it to sort of be a little bit slightly mismatched, because instead, even originally it was brick on the sides, brick paper, which I've shown you in one of the other videos. I actually bought like a stone paper. So these tiles are going to be like a grey black. They're not going to be sort of solid black or anything like that. Now, I'm just going to do that a little bit. Now, I wonder if I can move it without affecting the camera, I think. Yeah, it's not too bad. You can see all my mess around. I've got all sorts of things about at the moment. So I'm going to take my next tile because I need it to stagger, don't I? So again, just a blob of the PVA glue, nothing exciting. Let's get a little bit of paper stuck on that one, and I just want to overlap slightly. Now you can see I've left the end bit. I will put that in later. So let's get another one. I've just got all these little bits of cardboard already pre-cut. I do need to cut a lot more yet though. Let's have a look. There we go. So again, a little gap. Make sure that top bit is stuck down as well, so it's nice and steady. Don't worry again though if the top isn't right here, because eventually it's going to get covered, isn't it? It's going to have another layer on it, so we need to stagger it. There we go. I know you can buy ready-made tiles, which is great if you don't want to sit there. I mean, it is a bit tedious, I must admit, cutting out all the cardboard, but it's sort of like a pleasure at the same time because you've done it. So let's just have a couple. I normally will wait for a full row to dry and then I put the next row on, because it is better to have it dry before you put it on. But just as an example, roughly the same measurement, sort of space between there. And we'll put another one on just next to that one, and you can sort of see how I would keep building it up like that. I will need to cut a small piece here, but I'm just looking, I've got a smallish one there. I wonder if that's one I've cut off from another end. Would that fit? That would fit, as it turns out. Always keep all the bits, because you never know if there's one that might fit in a space that you're not expecting. Now you can see it's slightly shorter than this one, but it's not going to matter because I'm going to then promptly overlap. Now again, we have left a tiniest of weeniest of gaps, so after that again I will find another tiny one and sort of slide it in there. So it's a case of doing that all the way along. Now how I would normally do it is I will do a full run, and by the time I get to the other end, this end's all dry. So then I can start the next row, next row, next row, all the way to the top. It's nice to make sure the top is nice and neat as well there. And then you can get sort of your shape in there done. So that's basically all I did. I just completely covered it with these tiles. So I'm now going to pause. Well, you won't see the pause, but I'm going to pause. I'm going to turn the house round and you will see the bit that I've already tiled. Right, I've mixed some black and some white together because I want a greyish sort of colour. I put way too much black in here, so I ended up having to have so much paint. So I probably got too much paint, but it is a good idea to mix up enough to do the full coat, because then if you mix up a second lot for the second coat, it's a slightly different colour. It's not the end of the world. It will sort of blend in doing it that way. Literally just got a big brush and just paint it on. Now, I do like to sort of put a coat on and then stipple, because I do think it gives sort of slightly more of a texture. But already, just sort of putting this on, I've got the cat watching me here, so she might join in, I'm not quite sure. Now, I want to avoid that red. Really, I should have masked it off, because I think, as much as I'm changing a lot of this, I think I'm going to definitely keep that top bit red. I want to sort of pay homage to some of its original features. So make sure you don't fill these gaps in too much. So if you think you've got a bit more too much paint, just sort of go downwards. And because you want to make sure it is black, or black, grey, whatever colour you decide you're doing. I mean, you could do a red roof, you can do any colour roof, haven't you? But I wanted this to be a grey. I think this grey I've done is a little bit dark, so I think on my next coat, I mean, it probably looks black to you guys. It is a grey, it's just a very, very dark grey. So let's get that bit done there.
But it is going to need a couple of coats, most definitely, because it is cardboard. And it is going to soak in slightly, but I don't mind that. Now, because I've already took all my sort of, I can't think of the word, the paper off the sides and things, it's not the end of the world either. I'm very, very messy when you give me a paintbrush. It goes absolutely everywhere. I mean, this actually looks like, I'm going to be just really careful going up to that. I think it looks like it's going to dry lighter, because that's the other thing, you're never quite sure, because this is just an acrylic paint, just, you know, cheap acrylic paint, nothing expensive or anything like that, sort of a couple of quid a pop, if that. You can get it cheaper than that depending on what size pot. But you can see as it's already starting to dry, it's going a little bit paler. And say if the cat's not careful, she's going to get paint splashed on her, but she insists on getting on the way when I'm doing things, so there we go. Yeah, actually, I'm quite pleased how that is already coming out. You can see it looks like a form of slate. Again, with the brush, it's only a cheap one. I think it was a pack of brushes that I got. They were a few pound or so, something like that. I mean, it is a nice brush, though. It's not the cheapest. If you buy really cheap ones, you do have to be careful because your bristles come out, and it is not worth going that cheap. So I'm sort of doing this with the camera sort of in my way, to be honest. So I don't know how much I do it. I always say I'm just going to do a bit, but when I start painting, then I want to carry on. So I will carry on doing this off camera, and I will let you know when both sides are done. And then I will be at the stage where I'm going to be, hopefully, actually no, I think I will do a video where I'm just going to paint the front and the back panels, and then we will move on to the wallpaper stonework, which is going to go on the sides, because I decided the grey stone rather than the terracotta tiles that this originally had. And so this paint is already drying quite quick. I've got to use all this up now, or at least a percentage of it. But I do find you can keep acrylic paint, so this will probably be dry, what, I don't know, half an hour, something like that. So I'm about ready for my dinner anyway. So I will, is that side already looks dry. I will give a full coat to this, then I'm going to go and have my dinner. And then I will use up the rest of the paint. I've already got paint on my table. I tell my son off because he does his Warhammer stuff in my room. And because he paints in here, I'll moan at him because he's got paint on my table, and I've gone and done the same now. But I wipe mine off straight away. So that is the main thing. I am messy, but I do sort of clean up around it. I might as well just do the whole thing while I'm chattering at you here. Because we're almost done, aren't we? It's just trying not to knock the curtain. Why was I going to say curtain? I'm going to say curtain for some reason. Because as you can see, I'm reaching across quite a bit. And that is just purely because the camera's in the way. I mean, if you wanted to, I mean, to be honest, I think acrylic paint is enough. But if you wanted to, at the end of this, you could give it a coat of varnish. You know, if you want to make it either shinier, or you can get matte varnish. Or you want to make it so you feel it's not going to sort of chip or get damaged or anything like that. You could put a coat of varnish on. But I mean, I find that a couple of sort of layers of this is more than adequate. So, how quick that was. And look, or I think that already looks like a tile roof. But if you do have any other hints and tips, or if you're doing something like this, please pop a comment below, because other people do read it as well, and it might be something to help them. So if you've got any ideas, please pop them on there. They might be helpful somewhere. And I'm going to leave it at that for my first coat. You can see there's a couple of areas where it's not caught, but I think I need to let it dry and then give it this second coat and take it from there. I think I'll take some photographs as well, because I wanted to do like progression photos, because I've done absolutely nothing in the rooms yet. And so I wanted to do all the external, then I was going to start going into the rooms. So if you've been watching this, thank you so much for watching. please pop comments, like, subscribe, share. You know all the things to do. And I will be doing the progression bit by bit. I've already got lots of bits of furniture, as you've seen from previous videos as well. So I'm quite excited about getting inside, but I do know I need to do the outside first. That's the priority. So I'm going to go now. So thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now. And I'll see you all very soon, I hope. Bye-bye.